This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
It became a type of therapy for dealing with everything that was going on. I see a parallel between the freedom writers and myself, because we've all been subjected to things in our surroundings that could have made us feel like victims. Life brings good things and bad things. It makes people sad and happy in their own homes, within their families, in school, and on the street. Sometimes we suffer because of many things over which we have no control. The color of our skin, poverty, our religion, our family situation, war. It would be easy to become a victim of our circumstances and continue feeling sad, scared, or angry. Or instead, we could choose to deal with injustice humanely and break the chains of negative thoughts and energies and not let ourselves sink into it. Writing about the things that happen to us allows us to look objectively at what's going on around us and turn a negative experience into something positive and useful. This process requires a lot of work, effort, and greatness, but it is possible, and the freedom writers have proved it. They've chosen a difficult but powerful path. After I left Bosnia, the war continued, and as we've recently seen, a similar thing happened in Kosovo. People have asked me what I think about this, and all I can say is that it makes me terribly sad. Now, almost all of the young former Yugoslavians know what a bomb sounds like, what a cellar is, and what the absence of water, electricity, or home feels like. And again, these children and young people had nothing to do with the situation they found themselves in. I just hope that the anger, hate, and sadness they have experienced will not remain inside them, and that they will be able to rise above their experiences. Because if they grow up holding on to such terrible feelings, it could lead to another war sometime in the future when the fate of the country is in their hands. This is why I believe that everything the freedom writers have overcome and accomplished is very important and must be respected. If they had chosen to stay encapsulated in the anger and hate that surrounded them in their neighborhoods, the seeds of hatred and fear would have grown with them, and history would repeat itself with their children in the future. The freedom writers chose to break this cycle and make their positive experiences a lesson for generations to come. And of course, I will always very highly respect and admire the freedom writers' mentor, their friend and teacher, Erin Gruwell, who is also my friend. She never wants to be congratulated or held responsible for the great things that came out of room 203 at Wilson High School, but she must be. She was, and still is, much more than a teacher to the freedom writers. She was a parent to those who did not have or could not communicate with their own. She was an older friend who was fun to be around, but she was also very loyal, someone who cared and fought for each one of her kids. She shared her education, tenacity, and love with them, and made a huge difference in her students' lives. They could have remained the underachievers they had been labeled before they arrived in her classroom. But in just several years, she made a tremendous difference and created a safe place for them to grow and blossom into amazing people. She made authors, and I dare say historical figures, out of them. Many teachers consider their after-school time to be precious. But Erin gave herself over to her work. She was dedicated to helping her students learn, opening their eyes to injustice and guiding them to the weapons, in this case a pen, knowledge, a measure of faith, and an unyielding determination with which to fight intolerance. Finally, She taught them how to assume their rightful place in the world. I know her students will remember her the rest of their lives, as well they should. I wish that teachers everywhere were like her, because the world would be a much better place. I always say that the young people are the future of the world, and if we start with them first, if we educate and develop a sense of tolerance among them, our future, the future of this world, will be in good hands for generations to come. How many good things can come out of a bad situation? I am a perfect example. I was a small, happy Sarajevan girl whose country was struck by war. Suddenly I was put in a position of having some say and possible influence in the world. I did not want that responsibility, and I wish that my diary had never been published. If not for the war, there would have been no reason to share it with the world. But nonetheless, some good has come out of it. Anne Frank's diary inspired the world, and good has come out of her tragedy. Her strength kept her going for as long as it could, and subsequently has been recognized by millions of people, young and old. The greatness of those who are no longer with us, fortunately, remains to lead and inspire those left behind. My diary partially inspired the freedom writers, and maybe some other people, to start writing their own diaries and do something about the situations they found themselves in. I have heard people say that it is not what happens to us that matters, but how we deal with it. And the freedom writers are a perfect example. They could have chosen to fight racism with racism, hate with hate, pain with pain, but they did not. If we all do what the freedom writers have done, and choose to deal with inhumane situations in a humane way, we can turn the world around and create positive lessons for ourselves and for others. Unfortunately, I have realized that we cannot completely erase all evil from the world, but we can change the way we deal with it. We can rise above it and stay strong and true to ourselves. And most important, we can inspire others. This is what makes us human beings. This is what can make us immortal. I hope this book will inspire people to write their own diaries, stories, poems, books, to fight prejudice and to choose to deal with what happens to them in a positive way, to learn new lessons and share them with other people. This is for you, the reader, to consider, and I wish you good luck. Dublin, July 1999.
Freshman year, fall 1994. Entry 1, Mrs. Gruwell. Dear Diary, tomorrow morning my journey as an English teacher officially begins. Since first impressions are so important, I wonder what my students will think about me. Will they think I'm out of touch or too preppy? Or worse yet, that I'm too young to be taken seriously? Maybe I'll have them write a journal entry describing what their expectations are of me and the class. Even though I spent last year as a student teacher at Wilson High School, I'm still learning my way around the city. Long Beach is so different than the gated community I grew up in. Thanks to MTV dubbing Long Beach as the gangsta rap capital with its depiction of guns and graffiti, my friends have a warped perception of the city, or LBC as the rappers refer to it. They think I should wear a bulletproof vest rather than pearls. Where I live in Newport Beach is a utopia compared to some of the neighborhoods seen in a Snoop Doggy Dogg video. Still, TV tends to blow things out of proportion. The school is actually located in a safe neighborhood, just a few miles from the ocean. Its location and reputation make it desirable, so much so that a lot of the students that live in what they call the hood take 2 or 3 buses just to get to school every day. Students come in from every corner of the city. Rich kids from the shore sit next to poor kids from the projects. There's every race, religion, and culture within the confines of the quad. But since the Rodney King riots, racial tension has spilled over into the school. Due to busing and an outbreak in gang activity, Wilson